which I do believe. So we are going to start with just seated breath, doing a 4-to-8 ratio breathing just to get settled and centered. Find a comfortable position. You can be in a chair or on a block like I am, or the edge of a blanket. You will need maybe 2 blankets. 1 for sure will be nice, and if you want 2, just for the end of practice today, just to have something for under your knees, you're welcome to grab a blanket, a second blanket toward the end of class. So for now, we'll sit and relax the shoulders, let the lower body get a little heavier. And just start by taking a nice deep inhale through the nose and letting it out through your mouth with an audible sigh. Maybe even shrugging the shoulders up with that inhale. Good, maybe one more. And then let your attention drop into that lower belly area. You might even place a hand there and possibly one on the chest as well, just to start to breathe in, filling up the lungs to about a count of 4. And then exhaling for a count of about 8. Pressing all of the air out of your lungs. Don't worry if the count isn't exact. We're just trying to extend the exhale to about twice as long as the length of the inhale. Through this breathing exercise, you might begin to notice the places in your body that feel a little more constricted, as well as the places that move more easily with that inhale. Bringing gentleness to this pranayama, bringing gentleness without too much effort. Take a couple more rounds of this ratio breathing. And then keeping your eyes resting closed if that's comfortable for you. Just let your hands rest on your lap. And take a moment to notice any shift that you created through mindful breath. Since the last time that we practiced together, we had winter solstice. We had that shift from long and dark nights to the solstice, which starts to bring shorter evenings, longer days. We turn the corner from the darkest, longest night to the light, to the return of light. And as that goes on in our planet and all the areas of our earth, our seasons, as that happens in nature and the universe, it also happens within us. Each one of us has our own cycle of darkness and light. And those seasons can be long, they can feel forever long, or they can be from moment to moment or day to day. And so my intention for our practice today is to begin to acknowledge and honor those inner seasons of dark and light, to recognize them as necessary into contributing our wholeness So we'll start with a little chant melody that goes to the Yotzer or Yotzer prayer. So we'll do it twice. So when you hear me, then I invite you to sing back. Obviously, you're all muted, and I would love to hear your voices, but we can't do that. So I'm going to just feel your voices. If you choose to participate, I will know that you're here with me singing. So I'll sing, and then you sing, and we'll do both lines twice. I'll sing both. So the movement of the prayer is Yotzer or, right? So this is forming light, Yotzer or, Uvorei chosech. So just bringing the hands in, bowing the head, Uvorei chosech, creating darkness, making peace. So just the two peace signs, making peace, Oseh shalom. Uvorei et hakol, making all things, creating everything. So just a nice big circle coming back to the self. Yotzer or, Uvorei chosech, Uvorei chosech. Oseh shalom, Oseh shalom, Uvorei et hakol, Uvorei et hakol. Yotzer or, Uvorei chosech, Uvorei chosech. Oseh shalom, Oseh shalom, Uvorei et hakol, Uvorei et hakol. Forming light, creating darkness, making peace, creating everything, Let your arms rest. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy, you illumine the world and those who live upon it. In mercy, you illumine the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness, you daily renew creation. So from your seated position, we'll do some warm-ups. I am on a block. You're welcome to stay on a block if you're on one, or come to just the floor if that works for you, whatever works. Just going to explore this contraction expansion practice. So we're going to open up, breathe in like we did with the chant, and exhale, bring it back in. Inhale, opening up, expanding, exhaling, contraction coming back within. Again. And then bring your hands to your knees, and we'll do a little seated rounding and extension of the spine. So rounding the spine, tucking the chin, tucking the tailbone for a little cat pose, and then inhaling, arching the back, gazing up, drawing those shoulder blades and elbows toward each other. Breathe in, exhale, round. Inhale, expand. So we stay rounded the whole time. That wouldn't be good for us, right? But if we stay expanded and arched, that wouldn't be good for us either. So we dance between the two, and we find that middle place, that place of wholeness and balance. Good. Come back to a neutral spine. I'm going to remove my block and invite you to come into a Baddha Konasana. So the soles of the feet are together. If you would like to use blocks for support under your knees, feel free to do that. And we'll use our hands on the shins, tuck the belly button in, and just start to hinge forward, getting into those inner thighs for a moment. Breathing. Walk your hands out in front of you and start to walk them over to the left, and try to keep your right sits bone rooted into the mat or whatever you're sitting on, and feel a stretch in the lower back here. Engage the belly, walk the hands around to the right, reaching a little past your feet into an angle. And come back to center. Engage the belly as you come up. So we can do a little twist here if that works for you. We're going to inhale, reach the arms up, and just twist to the right. Come back to center and twist to the left. A couple of times. You can bring the hands down if you want as you breathe. Just noticing your range of motion here. And then if you have blocks, go ahead and move them off to the side and bring your right shin in front of your left shin. So we're like sitting crisscross here, but not fully. So that right shin is in front. And we'll bring the right hand down to the floor, reach the left arm up. As you engage your belly, just do a nice little lean over to the side. Stretching those intercostal muscles, those muscles between the ribs. And then change sides, reach up with the right arm and over. Big deep breaths. You can even rotate your waist and rib cage a little more up if that works for you. We'll do one more set. Inhaling left arm up and over. Relax your stabilizing arm, so let that shoulder drop away from your ear. And last time. Good. Do some shoulder circles. Both directions. And now we're going to come onto our backs. So have at least one block with you. So come onto your back and hug your knees into your chest. And just do some circles here, making contact with all of your back on the floor. You're going to bring your feet to the floor and set your body up as if you were going to do a bridge. So the reason I have your block near you, or would like your block near you, is you're going to take the block the skinniest way, the thinnest way, and place it between your thighs. And then if your feet are way out to the edges of your mat, you're going to want to walk, heel toe those feet in so that it feels as if your ankles are aligned with your knees. So you want to have that nice alignment between hip bone, knee, and ankles. And just holding that block there, not too much squeezing. You're just going to do some pelvic rotation or pelvic tilts. So if you've got any lower back tension, this is a really nice way to create some subtle movement and lubrication. So just tilting the pelvis, pressing the lower back into the floor. You're going to feel your abdominals engage when you do that. So notice that as you tuck your tailbone, but your butt doesn't lift off the floor, you're going to feel your abs kind of turn on. And then you'll tilt your pelvis the other way, create a little arch in that lower back area, and then the abs release. So exhaling, tucking, inhaling, releasing. And notice if it feels sticky or if the movement is smooth. Maybe there's some places in your body that feel like they've got a little more darkness. And we can use our breath to mindfully breathe. Imagine breathing in light into those places of stuckness. Okay, let your pelvis relax. And then keep the block between your knees and squeeze it a little more. I'd like you to bring your hands behind your neck. So you're going to clasp the hands at the base of your skull, so you're supporting the head, and you'll bring your elbows in toward your head just enough so that you can see your elbows in your peripheral vision. We're going to do a couple of ab crunches just to activate the core. I want you to imagine you have a tangerine between your chin and your chest, so there's that little space there. So you're not going to squeeze your chin in too tightly. You're going to hold the tangerine gently and start to pull the navel in and start to lift your upper body up, just a little rounding of the upper body like we were in a cat pose, and gaze towards your belly button. Squeeze your block and then slowly lower down. Exhale, go ahead and come back up, keeping that tangerine gently placed between chin and chest. Really suck your belly button in towards your spine. These are really slow. Squeeze the block and bring it back down. We're just doing a couple more. Breathe to prepare, breathe in, exhale, come up, rounding the upper back, making sure not to squeeze your head or hold your head too tightly, and lower down. And we'll do one more. Squeeze the block first, then start to rise up, gazing toward the belly, holding, and lowering down. Good. Just firing up the core a little bit. Keep the block where it is. Bring your hands by your sides. And now press into your feet and start to lift your hips off the floor. Keep squeezing the block. So we go from the contraction of the abdominals to the expansion and opening of the abdominals. We need both. We need both. Keep squeezing the block. One more breath. You might feel your glutes turning on here too. And lower down. Good. Go ahead and remove the block. Squeeze your knees into your chest, maybe opening the knees this time and rocking and rolling whatever way feels good for you. And then release your left leg to the floor and keep your right knee squeezed in. And create some compression there with the shin, pressing the shin in toward your hip, and then ankle rotations. Good. Change sides. Squeezing that left knee close to the rib cage, making some ankle rotations. Big breaths. Good. We're going to roll to the side now and come on to all fours. We'll go right into a few cat and cows. Always when we're in these weight-bearing positions on the hands and wrists, know that you can always come to knuckles or fingertips if you need to. Rounding the whole spine and releasing in a way that feels good for you today. Play. Let your spine move from side to side if you want. A little wagging of the tail. I like to do hip circles from this position. It really gets into those outer hips. Looking for any dark, stuck places. Lift your right arm up and back like you're doing a little back stroke. You're going to inhale, reach forward. Exhale, sit back. Just warm up those shoulders. Keep the movement nice and smooth. Match it to your own breath. So you might go slower or faster than I do. Good. Let's place the right hand down, reach the left hand forward. Inhale, up and back. Inhale, reach, exhale, swim it back. So we're warming up the wrists as well with this little bit of weight bearing. And pause, open up your knees and come into child's pose. Just get your chest as low as you can toward the floor. Rest your head on the mat or a block. And breathe into the side body, so like as if you have gills. Just breathe into the underarm areas. Stretch those arms long. So what we're going to do from here, go ahead and bring your knees in a little closer. This is where your blankets might be helpful if you need them. If ever it bothers you to sit on your knees, if it hurts your ankles or it just feels too compressed for you at the knee joint, you can always use a blanket or towel, and you can just put it right behind your knees and then sit back on it. And sometimes that releases a little pressure. I'll just leave that there as an example. So we're going to bring the block in front of us. And you may want to do this or it may not work for you today, but we're in this child's pose with, I've got narrow knees and I'm reaching my arms out. So we can stay like this. If we want to get a little more into the shoulder openers, we can use our block at whatever height works. I would say start at the short height and place it in front of you and see about letting your head again rest toward the mat. Now, if you have broader shoulders, you can also use two blocks side by side so that your arms can be a little more spread out, but still they're raised up a little higher so that when you rest your head and chest, you're also still getting that nice opening. Let's take one more breath. Always know it's just an option. It's not something you have to do. It's just an invitation to explore a little deeper. Good. We're going to take the hands off the block if you have them there. Go ahead and rise up. Remove the blanket if you were using one. I have so many little toys all around me today. Okay. So we're going to warm up the hips now by doing some fire hydrants. So you're on your hands and knees. Lift your right knee out to the side and just do some circles. Now you want to keep your belly pulled in. So I'm hoping there's no sagging of the back here. So we're not in a cow, we are just tabletop. Nice flat back, and we're going to lift and make some circles. I'm on my fingertips. Keep breathing, keep holding the belly in. And then reverse. Good. And then take that same leg, the right leg, and extend it long and bring your toes to the mat, and then shift your weight back. Press through that heel to get a calf stretch. Good. Let's change sides. So re-engage the belly, flatten out the back, lift the left knee up, and start to do some circles. You should feel the heat in building pretty quickly. And reverse. Breathe light into the dark places in those hips. Good. And now extend that left leg. Press the ball of your foot into the mat and press back. Shift your weight back, stretch the calf. Good, okay. So the next thing I'll introduce is a calf stretch. And if you need that blanket under your knees, feel free to use it. It's a pretty simple stretch. It gets into the calf and Achilles. So you sit on your knees and then bring your right foot forward. That's it. Bring your right foot forward, foot is flat, and then just start to lean forward. Just lean forward. Try to keep your knee tucked into your arm and shift your weight forward. Until it's a very subtle stretch. You might feel it a little bit in the lower calf or the Achilles, and if you have really tight calves, it might not be subtle. Try to press your weight forward to the ball of that right foot. Good. And then change sides. So I've got my foot tucked in pretty close to my body. So some of your heels might come up a little bit. That's okay. Just keep your knee close to your body and lean forward. One more breath. Good. Okay, release. Go ahead and just tap your feet behind you. Just tap them. And then when you're ready, come up to standing. We're going to use our massage ball. So have your blocks nearby in case you need them, and your massage ball. So let's start to do some hip circles. And from this wider stance, we'll bring in breath of joy. So we're going to inhale 3 times, sniffing the air. Sniff with arms up, sniff with arms out, sniff with arms up, and then so it's 3 inhales. Feeling and filling and filling, and then letting go. One more. Good. Bring your feet underneath your hips. Take a moment to breathe naturally. Soft knees here. We're just going to do our 3 thumps, tapping under the collarbones, vigorously tapping. Within the center of the chest, tapping vigorously. Take a nice breath in and let out an ah. Ah, good. And knocking on those ribs, tapping, knocking, massaging. If it's a little sore, it's probably just needs it. Tap, 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 and shake it out. Good. Foot massage. So take your massage ball and bring it under your right foot and just start to give your feet some love. paying attention to the outer edge of your foot today, so we can be aware of the outer edge contact with the mat for our standing poses. So get to that outer edge, which some of the reflex points for here are the colon, the large colon. And then get into the inner arch. And then choose a spot that needs a little extra attention and pause there and just soften. Rather than pushing into it, I wanted you to think of softening. Like, you know, when the sun rises, it's not like super aggressive. It just happens. It's just this gentle lifting of the, or feels like lifting of the sun, right? The light just starts to show up, just like it gently goes away. I want you to think of that quality of gentleness as you surrender your tissues into the ball. And let that ball, the pressure of the ball, meet the tissue. Good. And change sides now. We'll get into that left foot. Focusing on the outer edge of the foot. As well as the inner arch. And then choosing a spot that you can just settle in without force, just a gentle surrender to the breath. Good. Okay, we can place the ball off to the side, off of your mat, and we'll move through some standing poses. So let's keep your block near you in case you need it. So we're going to take a warrior two with the right leg as our leading leg, the front leg first. So setting up for warrior two, place the block inside that front foot, just in case you need it. So return the back leg in just a bit and make sure that outer edge is connected to the mat. First we're going to bring our hands to our hips and just start to bend the knee. Come down as low as you can and then press back up. Inhale and exhale, come back up. Inhale, pause here and notice if your back hip is hiked up at all, and see if you can level your hips out and have your shoulders rising up above your hips, so no leaning into it really. Good. And a couple more times, bending, keeping the integrity of the alignment in the upper body. This time, go ahead and come down as far as you'd like to, and then open the arms, palms up. Drop your shoulders down, bring your shoulder blades together, gaze over your right hand for a receptive warrior two pose. Drop your back hand and reverse your warrior, reach the front arm up. Breathe. Keep the belly engaged as you float your hands back to your warrior two with your palms up. This time straighten your front knee and hinge, or I should say shift your arms forward out past those front toes and then bring them down for triangle pose. So your block can be an extension of your arm here. If you need a tiny little micro bend in that front knee to keep it from feeling hyperextended, then please do that. Breathe into triangle. Maybe gazing up at your hand, rolling, rotating the waist toward the sky. tucking your buns underneath you. Good. So to come out of this, I want you to really connect to your feet and your core. Start to rise up, keep the front knee straight, and come into a reverse triangle. Reach the front arm up. Good. Come back to your warrior two. And pause here. Bring your hands to your heart, and we'll change sides. So just shifting the feet so that the left knee is your bent knee now. You might check your heel, the front heel, see if it's lined up with the back arch or somewhere around there. Belly's engaged. Extend the arms, palms up. Bring your hands to your hips, and then check your hips again for this levelness, and just start to warm up the thigh. So bending and straightening. When you bend that knee, keep it pressing toward the little toes. Try not to let it cave inward toward the big toe. It's like we're pumping all the dark stuff out of the hips. We're just like really creating lubrication in the joints here. Pause here, shoulders down, and then extend the arms up again, palms up. Breathe. Reverse your warrior. Drop the back hand, lift the front hand, gaze up. Good, come back to warrior two. If your block is nearby, you can have it by that front foot again. Straighten the left leg this time, reach out over those left toes. Belly's engaged. Come into triangle. Both legs are really active here. Feel the expansiveness of this pose as you're rooting down but reaching up. Open heart. Good, pressing into both feet. You're going to rise up, keep the front foot straight, and try a reverse triangle. Reaching to the heavens, feeling the expansion of the pose. Good, float back to warrior two. That front knee is bent again. And then start to walk your feet together and just shake it out. You're going to inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. So coming into contraction, folding in toward the self and toward darkness, returning from expansion to contraction. We need both. We need both. Even if we don't think we do. Let the weight of your upper body go toward the floor or toward your blocks. So you'll look up first, bring your hands to your hips, and try to rise up with a flat back to protect your spine. Good. So we're going to have the hips, the hips facing forward. And then bring the right foot out. I'm going to go sideways so you can see what I'm doing. Right foot comes out in front just a little bit. And we're going to shift the hips back. And we're going to scoop the air and come up. Inhaling. So you're sitting back. Those toes are pointed towards your nose. You're going to get a whole back of the body stretch here. Hamstrings and calf. Belly needs to be engaged here as you reach and lift. Keep breathing. We're looking for a hamstring and calf stretch. Last time. Good. The side you just stretched is going to be our standing leg. So look down at your foot, make sure your toes are facing forward, lift your left knee, and we'll start to do some circles, some like dynamic balance practice here. Lifting the knee up and out and around. Try gazing at something that is unmoving for focus. You can also always feel free to have a chair anytime you need it nearby or a wall. Reverse your circles. Okay, good. So look around, make sure your block is nearby. You might need to grab it on your way down. We're going to take that left leg and we're going to cross it over the right leg. Both feet are flat on the floor. Start to come down into a forward fold, reaching for your block or the floor. This is a nice deep stretch for that right hamstring and IT band area. You may have 2 blocks stacked or something, right? You might not come down very far. You're going to tilt your pelvis forward. So lift your sits bones like they're going to have their own little sunrise back behind you, like they're lifting up. Pelvis, front of the pelvis is tilting forward, and breathe. Use your hands if you need to start to press you up, coming back. Okay, so warming up the hamstring on the left side. We'll bring the right leg, yes, the right legs are standing leg, left leg is out in front of us. Start to sit back, lift those toes, scoop up and around. So it really helps to press your heel into the floor and lift your toes a lot. And imagine you're sitting down on a bench behind you. Just a couple more. Last one. Good. Now you stand on the left leg. Engage the belly, lift the right knee, start to do some circles. Reversing. The next time that leg comes around, go ahead and place it on the floor. Both feet are flat. Start to hinge at your hip crease. Come down to a place where you feel a stretch. Fold in. Sometimes the darkness isn't comfortable. So we breathe into it, we relax what we can. We surrender as much as possible, knowing that this too shall pass. This is not forever. Nothing is ever forever. One more breath. Press into those feet. Use your hands to help guide you back up. Good. We are going to come into a squat now. I'm not a good example of a good squat because my heels come off the floor. So, or maybe I am a good example because maybe your heels come off the floor too. Some of you might be able to come into a squat with flat feet. I usually need a little blanket under my heels, or I sit on blocks. So you can start with a blanket under your heels if you think you're going to need it. Nice wide stance, and then just come down into a squat. And so this blanket is just about enough for me. Some of you might need also a block, which feels really good actually. So I'm going to keep this here. But we don't want to just like hang out like we're on a curb waiting for a pizza or something. We want to really be active. So keep pressing your feet into the floor or the blanket and open up those thighs. You can use your elbows and bring your fingertips together or your palms. Sitting upright, bringing the navel in, Malasana pose. You can stay just like this, or if you'd like to bring a twist into this, you can bring your left hand to the floor and your right arm up and gaze up at your right hand. So you're just doing a little upper body twist. Again, just an invitation, not a requirement. And then change sides. Keep your belly pulled in as you do this. Good. Okay, so if you're sitting on a block, go ahead and stay there. If you're not, you might want to sit on one or bring a blanket under you. We're going to use our ball again to set us up for when we lie down for Shavasana. So we're just going to release the neck. So just for a minute. So take the ball in your right hand and start to rub it, roll it right under the skull on the right side. Just getting into any sore spots, working your way down your shoulder, down to the top of your trapezius muscle here. Good, and then change sides to the back of the left side of the neck. Okay, go ahead and place the ball in front of you. Tilt your left ear to your left shoulder, just straight down. At the same time, you're going to make a fist with your right hand and reach down toward the floor. Keeping your right hand where it is, you'll just turn your head, just rotate the head to look down toward the left side of your mat or toward your left shoulder. And breathe. And then rotate the head back so that your ear is still over your shoulder, but now you're looking forward again. And then try turning your head again toward the left. And then turn it to face forward again. Good. Now just tilt your chin up a tiny bit. Keep reaching with that right arm in a soft fist. Good. Release, relax. Bring that head slowly back up. And then tilt the right ear to the right shoulder. Soft fist reaching out to the side like you're carrying a pail of water. Breathe here. Start to turn your head to look down toward your right shoulder, or that direction anyway. And then turn the head to look forward again, but you're keeping your ear aimed down toward the shoulder. One more rotation of the neck, looking toward the right shoulder. And then turn the head again to look forward. And now tilt the chin back just a little bit. Get right into the front of the neck muscles there. Good. Slowly release. Slowly, slowly bring your head back up. That's a pretty deep stretch. Release your shoulders. So we are going to get ready for Shavasana with a blanket. So we're not quite at Shavasana yet, but I want you to be ready. So we just released the neck. So I want you to take your blanket. You can also do this with a towel, and you're just going to roll it a tiny bit. What we want is for it to support the nape of the neck. And so you can adjust it when we actually get down to our backs, but just have your blanket nearby because we're going to do that to come into a more restful Shavasana with support of the neck. And then the second blanket was in case you want to put it under your knees today, just for a little extra sweet Shavasana, extra sweet love, self-love. But before that, we're going to do some more hip stuff from seated. If you like pigeon pose, this is your chance to come into pigeon pose. So I'm going to lean back. I'm going to cross my right ankle over my left thigh, flexing both feet, and then start to bend the left foot and start to bring it toward my body. So you want to press into the ground, into the mat with your arms so that your shoulders aren't up in your ears and you're not sagging. You want to open the chest, flex the right foot. This is really just your figure 4 stretch with a little more active, just a little more active energy. If at any time you would prefer to come into a lying down or supine figure 4 stretch, go ahead and do that. Press your right knee away from you. Relax your jaw. Good. You can start to straighten that left leg so that you can take your right leg down. Cross your left ankle over your right thigh or knee and bring the right leg back towards your body. Reposition your upper body so it's really like a little tripod. You're really pressing yourself up. Left foot is flexed. A couple more breaths here. Good. Go ahead and straighten the right leg. Come out of that. We're going to come onto our backs now. So feel free to roll that towel or blanket so that it's just snug under your neck. So if it's too high, your chin's going to be pressing toward your chest. We don't want that. We don't want it. We don't want the roll so big that your head actually is pressed forward, and we also don't want it too small so that you don't feel support. So find the sweet spot there. And with your neck support, you can just take a little final twist from side to side. On your own, just releasing any tension in the lower back. Letting go of all the effort. Until you feel ready to lie on your back with or without that blanket under your knees. See if you can provide the most support you can for deep relaxation for the next few moments. So there's a reading from this book called Jewish Meditation Practices for Everyday Life, written by Rabbi Jeff Roth. And it's about this very prayer, the Yotzer prayer. Or I should say chant. With this chant, we pray for the divine presence to shine through more clearly in every moment and every experience. References to the light of day coming after the darkness of night are more than just a description of the returning of the sun. They are a metaphor for divine presence, the shining light and divine wisdom, the light that brings clarity and understanding. At this point in the prayers, it is helpful to pay attention to the light of day, that it has returned. There is a deep message that the sages wanted to impress upon us in blessing the new day and the return of light, more than just that we should be happy that night has ended. In the evening prayers, we say a blessing welcoming the evening. And in both prayer services, the evening and the morning service, we acknowledge both the dark and the light. Hence the chant above, we say forming light, creating darkness. In the evening prayers, the words used are rolling the light away from before the darkness, and the darkness from before the light. The profound teaching here is that we need to understand that the nature of the universe is to flow back and forth between polar opposites, light and dark, empty and full, pleasure and pain, good fortune and bad, To bless God is to recognize that the divine is in both sides of these turnings and is in the process of turning and returning itself. So as your body begins to return to ease, as you go from effort to ease, let yourself soften into this opportunity of deep relaxation. As your body continues to soften and relax, you might notice there are areas in your body that are calling for more light, maybe healing. And you can use your breath and your intention to imagine bringing light to those places. As you exhale, dispelling darkness or injury or resistance. Yotzer Uvorei chosech Oseh shalom Uvorei hakol Yotzer Uvorei chosech Oseh shalom, Oseh shalom, Uvorei hakol, Uvorei hakol, forming light, creating darkness, making peace, creating everything, Yai-dai-dai, yai-dai-dai, yai-dai-dai-dai-dai, 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 yai-dai-dai-dai-dai. Through closed eyes, begin to sense the light that exists behind the lids. And take all the time you need to deepen your breath and to roll to your side before you rise up. And we bring our hands to our hearts and close our practice with this prayer. May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be loved. May all beings have peace. May it be so. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Shalom.